The coordinators of the anti-discrimination student movement have announced an outline for an interim government in Bangladesh headed by Nobel laureate Dr. Muhammad Yunus. This information was conveyed in a video message by key coordinators of the student movement, Naid Islam, Asim Mahmood and Abu Bakr Mazumdar at 4:15 am local time this morning. Earlier last night, Naid had announced that an outline for an interim government would be formulated within 24 hours. However, as widespread violence persisted throughout the night, the coordinators decided to announce their stance as quickly as possible, even in the middle of the night. President Mohammed Shahabuddin on Monday night gave his nod to form an interim government to run the country following the resignation of Sheikh Hasina. This decision was made during a meeting at Bangabhavan after discussing the current situation with the chiefs of the Army, Navy, Air Forces, leaders of various political parties and members of civil society, according to a press release signed by Mohammed Shiblu Zaman, Assistant Press Secretary of Bangabhavan. The Army has been tasked with the responsibility of stopping the vandalism and ensuring law enforcement, which deteriorated severely after Sheikh Hasina left the country yesterday afternoon. Earlier in the afternoon, Army Chief General Wakar-uz-Zaman held a meeting with several political party leaders and civil society members at the Army headquarters. After the meeting, he told the media that the formation of an interim government had been decided and would take effect shortly after discussions with the President. In a press briefing after the meeting, the Army Chief said justice would be ensured for all those killed and injustices. The Army Chief also mentioned that he would soon meet with the representatives of the students and teachers. He expressed confidence that the situation would return to normal soon and sought all-out cooperation from people of all classes and professions, including students, regardless of party affiliations and opinions. Hours after Hasina's resignation, President Mohammed Shahabuddin had ordered the release of jailed former Prime Minister Khalida Zia and all students detained during recent protests against the quota system for government jobs. Hundreds of Bangladeshis gathered to celebrate in Paris's Place de la République after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country. Demonstrators cheered and waved flags, with many saying that the country was now free.
And we are celebrating here today in Paris Republic because of their sacrifices. So I want to say the whole credit, the 100% credit we want to give to those martyrs, their families, and all the students who has been injured and taking medication in the hospital. Because of their sacrifices, because of their blood, we are celebrating here today. We have supported them through blockage, sending money back to Bangladesh. We have stopped our remittance money. It's a support, it's a way of sign to show people, to show our students who have sacrificed in their life that we are with you. And alhamdulillah, after 14 days of bloody war, today we are free.
You can repeat it, that's fine. We're just going to quickly speak to her and then after we can...
And he is free.
He's free, yeah.
And
we are free, everyone free. You know, we try to never go Bangladesh, but right now we go Bangladesh, inshallah, very soon.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
How about his future leader? Next president for Bangladesh. Yes, Amir Hamza Khan.
Next president Bangladesh, inshallah.
I want to say something to our students.
Now Bangladesh, I don't know who is come now, but I think Bangladesh will be now. We hope the next one is the best one is come in our country.
Like in Paris, Bangladeshis in London celebrated after Bangladesh Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country as more people were killed in some of the worst violence since the birth of the South Asian nation more than 5 decades ago. In Whitechapel, a London neighborhood home to a large Bangladeshi community, many took to the streets to celebrate Hasina's resignation. Waving their green and red national flag and honking car horns, they jumped with happiness as they repeatedly chanted their country's name.
most important thing is Bangladesh has achieved its second independence now. We achieved our independence first in 1971, but autocrat Sheikh Hasina was ruling the country forcibly. She has snatched away our right. She has killed thousands of children. Today she has fled away to India and she has resigned. The military has taken over the power, and there will be a neutral administration. There will be free and fair elections in the country, and we will have democratic government. That's why we are victorious today.
Thank you. My family is back home, and they're suffering. They cannot, they don't get these opportunities like the people who serve the government. They are treated very differently. They don't have any voice. They don't have any right to exercise their voting rights. So it is a relief for us, and I'm happy for my nation, the students, the youngsters. I'm very proud of my nation, and we came as a united front, and we are victorious. So I'm very glad. I'm very proud of my country and my people.
We hope that democracy will come back in our country, and human rights will prevail again. And you know, lots of students killed within last month, and it's called July massacre or genocide. So we want justice, we want peace in Bangladesh, and we are working on it.
Echoing the voices of Bangladeshi nationals, Meenakshi Ganguly, Human Rights Watch Asia Deputy Director, has said that the people of Bangladesh have won. Here is what she had to say.
They will feel that they have won today because a lot of people have lost their lives in this fight, which really began peacefully, only over quotas in government jobs, but escalated because of mishandling by the government, by the absolute arrogance of the political leadership, by excesses of the security forces, into something which was so angry and demanded that Prime Minister step down. So they will be happy today. I think that what had happened with the army was at some point the army said that they could not shoot at their own people. And that is what changed. It changed when the army stopped standing by the political leadership and suggested that for her own safety, she must leave the country. These last 3 terms of the Sheikh Hasina government has really damaged institutions, independent institutions, including the judiciary, the National Human Rights Commission, the police. Everything had become tainted through political pressure. There needs to be a rebuilding of independent institutions. There needs to be better human rights protections. There needs to be people that have worked hard, workers whose labor rights have to be protected, street children who have to be protected. I mean, there are so many communities that deserve social justice and welfare, and this is the time for Bangladesh to move forward in those directions. Of course, that will be led by an an elected government. But in the interim, what we do want to see most immediately is a non-partisan investigative system that looks into all the violence that has occurred and prosecute those responsible, irrespective of which side they belong to. That there is law and order, which means that there is no engagement in exacting revenge. Because we know that the supporters of the Awami League, of Sheikh Hasina's Awami League, had attacked protesters. But if now there is a tit for tat, that will only lead to further violence. So instead, there should be there should be faith in the justice system, and the justice system should restore that faith.
Like Meenakshi said, law and order is the need of the hour in Bangladesh. The United Nations called for restraint and urged that formation of an interim government in the South Asian nation would be democratic after Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina resigned and fled the country.
We're watching the situation in the country very closely. We continue to call for calm and restraint and to urge all parties to respect the right to peaceful assembly and expression. We urge security forces to protect those out on the streets of Dhaka and other cities of Bangladesh. You'll have seen that the High Commissioner for Human Rights, Volker Turk, issued a statement yesterday in which he called for violence in the country to stop. He added that accountability for human rights violations, including for those with superior and command responsibility, is crucial. The international community must make it clear that at this pivotal time, there will be no impunity. For us, the important things are that for the parties to remain calm, and we want to emphasize the importance of a peaceful, orderly, and democratic transition. We stand in full solidarity with the people of Bangladesh at this time, and we call for full respect of their democratic and human rights. And ultimately, regarding what's happened so far, there's a need for a full, independent, and impartial and transparent investigation into all acts of violence.
Have there been further conversations? Have there been any conversations between the UN and authorities there in the region?
We are in touch with authorities in the region, and our country team is in touch with authorities in Bangladesh, and we'll see where we go with that. But right now, the situation is moving very swiftly. We'll have to see what happens once the dust settles.
Does the Secretary General have confidence in the military as being the caretaker in the interim period of this governmental alleged transition?
I think for us, the important thing is we want to make sure that all of the authorities, the political authorities, the military authorities, and anyone else who has a say in the current transition, work together so that there will be a peaceful and democratic transition.
After the UN, the United States has welcomed an interim government in Bangladesh, where the Prime Minister fled the country after a crackdown on demonstrations.
Saeed, sit down. Sorry. It's okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Good to be back after a little bit of time on the road. Turning to Bangladesh, we have seen the announcement that Prime Minister Hasina resigned from her position and departed Bangladesh. We are monitoring the situation carefully. The United States stands with the people of Bangladesh. We urge all parties to refrain from further violence. Too many lives have been lost over the course of the past several weeks, and we urge calm and restraint in the days ahead. We welcome the announcement of an interim government and urge any transition be conducted in accordance with Bangladesh's laws. Finally, we are deeply saddened about the reports of human rights abuses, casualties, and injuries over the weekend and past weeks. We share our deepest condolences with those who lost loved ones and those who are suffering. The latest in a series of diplomatic engagements he has held over the past few days with counterparts in the region and around the world.
So even the United States of America has urged for calm and restraint in Bangladesh.